In scaling and automating my SMMA over the past few years, it felt extremely slow. It felt almost impossible. It took forever to make things happen. I don't know if you can relate, but it felt like I'd pretty much never be able to reach my goals. I never really understood why or how people scaled so fast and why nothing was working for me the way I wanted it to. And I was being really hard on myself altogether because I hold myself to a pretty high standard. And I wanted to achieve all these big things. And there was one thing that, while it seems extremely obvious on the outside, when you look deeper into it, it makes a lot of sense and explains one of the big reasons why I was progressing so slowly. But once I took this thing very seriously, everything changed for me. I was able to stop being so hard on myself and, just scale faster. Not only that, but become a lot happier in general and have a more fun time doing what I was doing. And I'm gonna pretty much tell you how I got out of this. So the simple surface level idea that a lot of people are just gonna click off this video because of and then suffer from is the fact that plans always change. And the deeper conversation here is that a lot of people struggle with this fact, or they're unaware that this is something that they even struggle with in the first place. And there are really two main perspectives here. The first perspective is plans always change, accept it. Well, how do you accept it? And I'll break down how you can accept it and how I started accepting it in a little bit, like an exercise that you can do. It takes 30 seconds a day, not even. But then there's a second perspective, which is, why do plans always change? Why do plans have to change? That's the bucket that I personally fell into for a perspective. Some people are just, it's totally cool with them. They're like, plans always change, I'm fine with it, and they're genuinely okay with it, and they can accept that fact very easily. But when you're a control freak, which a lot of entrepreneurs are control freaks, and you want to just make things happen the way that you want them to, this is where things become really challenging for a lot of people. So full transparency, if you're in the position where you genuinely have no issues with the speed at which things are happening for you, so on and so forth, and you're actually internally comfortable, not egotistical comfortable, I'm not going to know if you're going to click off this video. If you're genuinely comfortable on the inside, then the rest of this video may or may not be helpful for you. Maybe it will be helpful if you ever fall into it in the future, I don't know, but you don't have to watch the rest of it. But if this is helpful to you, or this is something you struggle with, this will be really helpful for you. The first thing we need to do is look at why you struggle with plans always changing. Usually it comes down to something I talk about a lot on this channel, which is you setting aside some arbitrary date and time for achieving a certain goal that you want to hit. That is going to be the root cause of a lot of your problems, a lot of your stress, headaches, emotional instability, whatever it is. A lot of your problems are going to stem from saying, I want to hit 10K per month in the next 90 days, and then not hitting it, and then saying it again, and then not hitting it, and then saying it again, and then not hitting it, and then saying it again, and then coming close, and then still not hitting it. And you're like, dude, what is happening? And then you get really pissed off. You start to think that you're a failure. Why am I even doing this? Is this for me? Do I just suck at this? Like, what's wrong with me? Why am I even doing this? That's where the spiraling starts. So solve the problem at the source, or prevent the problem in the first place by making it a conscious thing while you're getting into business to not make a habit of doing that, because it will kill you. So I'm not talking about that. But that's usually why people suffer from plans constantly changing and things not going to plan, however you want to put it. It's because of these arbitrary goals with timelines associated, and they're outcome-based goals. You can't control when you're going to hit 10K per month. You can do everything you can to get the number of leads, the number of calls, the close rate, the etc. to make it happen. But even then, if you have all the right numbers, you still might have a month where you get a little unlucky on the calls, and you get a batch of people where, maybe it's a weird time of year, maybe because that can happen, but maybe it's also just that, out of 15 sales calls, let's say you sell something that's $5,000, out of 10 sales calls you're supposed to, or you normally close 1 in 5, for example. Maybe you get unlucky on the 10 and you only close 1 deal, right? Then the next month, maybe you'll close 3 deals and you'll hit 15K, right? So you can't even control that. But to go back on topic, the why. You need to understand why this is happening. Usually it's because you want to achieve something and you're getting in your head about having not achieved it yet. That's my experience. Now, I'm not going to draw this video out for too long, I'll give you the action item that I was talking about. And again, my agency felt impossible until I learned this, or growing an agency in SMMA felt impossible until I learned this. But seriously, if you run a social media marketing agency, write notes while watching these videos. It'll really help you. So one exercise that I want to give to you takes you 30 seconds in the morning. I would spend probably 2 to 3 minutes doing this because I actually had a list of these things, and they're called confirmations. So you're essentially telling yourself or reassuring yourself of things that are true that maybe you don't believe. So it's helping you believe new things that will essentially bring you to your goals faster. And I'll give you an example of a confirmation that's perfectly relevant here. Handwrite is very important because this helps it get into your brain better, just like writing notes on these videos. For example, one thing I have here is, it doesn't matter if things take twice as long because blank. And every day what I try to do is, I may write the exact same thing every day because I live at home with my parents and I don't have expenses. Maybe that's why it doesn't matter if things take twice as long, because that's the case for a lot of you guys. A lot of my viewers are somewhere between 18 to 30-ish, right? So a lot of people will be living at home with their parents. If not, odds are you have a job, and it's not going to kill you if it takes you twice as long to get your agency to 10, 20K per month, right? And I would write this down by hand every single day. I don't know if you know The Simpsons, but you'll see students getting in trouble and writing things on the chalkboard. Part of that's a punishment, but in a lot of ways it can help people get better things into their brain, which is why they'll write, I will not do whatever bad thing. I will not do whatever bad thing. Because they're trying to get the students to plug it into their brains, right? And you can actually do this yourself and, saturate your brain with better information that is the truth. If you read it out loud too, that can also help. So I would write things down and then I'd read certain things out loud every morning as well. So it doesn't matter if things take twice as long because I live at home with my parents or I have a job that already pays me, right? They're two perfectly good examples. And if you can think of more and more things and leave that blank after the because, then this will allow you to come up with more ideas and just give yourself more reasons and confirm that belief to be true. It doesn't matter if things take me twice as long or 3 times as long or just longer in general. It doesn't matter if it takes me 2 years to hit 10K per month, because for me, again, I was living at home with my parents. Didn't really have expenses. For you, it may be you have a good job, you have internships, you're in school, whatever, right? So what this does is it reprograms your brain and teaches it better information that is true, that will help you. You can get really creative with these confirmations. So instead of shouting affirmations in the mirror, as some people will say, I am great, I am amazing, I am so rich. I've never done that. You can use confirmations to help you upgrade your beliefs. One of the other things I would write down to upgrade my beliefs, I would write down, I can make $1 million per month by X age, which is flawed in and of itself, as I'm sure you know at this point. But I can make $1 million a month by 27, for example, because this guy did it, this guy did it, this guy did it, this guy did it, right? And when I start to believe that, my whole world opens up and I become more aggressive in business because my beliefs have been upgraded. And reality is you can hit 10K per month in less than a year. Some people hit 10K per month in their first few months, whatever it is, right? It's uncommon. It really is uncommon unless you have experience in sales, marketing, or both, or just business in general. If you're starting from scratch, usually things will take longer unless you buy some type of coaching type thing and work like a dog. But do this exercise 30 seconds a day. Again, you can get creative with it. Write it down by hand, read it out loud. This will help you. Things felt impossible until I learned this. So see you in the next one.